Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I know it's been a little bit since I put a video up there. We've been trying to get some work done on the Jeep motor, and it's been kind of slow going. It's, the holiday season, and some of us got sick, and there's a lot of things going on with outside of the garage life. So last couple of weeks the guys haven't been here, or it's been real spotty trying to get everybody here to work. I know that today one of the guys isn't going to make it. The other one may or may not. It's raining really, really, really bad out here on the East Coast. We're major storms, major flooding. So if one of the guys doesn't show up, I'm not surprised. So taking this opportunity to do a video, I just did a real quick one on the Jeep motor in the front, between the frame rails. So one of the common misconceptions is the Jeep motors are in the center of the Jeep, left to right. And most cars are, but they really aren't. The motors in these Jeeps are offset to the driver's side, just a couple inches, 2 to 3, depending on what you're measuring. So look for that video. It kind of came to mind because I'm watching a video on somebody doing one of these, and he's measuring it, dead center, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not exactly right. So since mine's half taken apart, I did a quick video on that. So speaking of half taken apart, we took the front grille off the Jeep the other day, last week as a matter of fact, to get something done. We've got the motor that's coming together slowly. We got it back from Ellison's machine shop a couple weeks ago, and we've been trying to teach the guys how to build the motor, all the steps that go into it, all the different pieces that go into it, how a motor works. But only getting one day a week and everybody having a lot of responsibilities, it's slow going. And we had a couple of conversations today, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of plow through and get the engine done. I wanted to have it done before Christmas. Obviously, it's well past Christmas. And the guy that was helping me with it, he's kind of fine with it. He saw a lot of the internal part, which is what he wanted to see. We're down to the part of just putting the head on, put the water pump on, and then moving all the little bits and bobs off of the existing motor onto this motor. So the distributor, starter, a couple of brackets, the coil, all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty standard stuff. He knows how to do that. So we're going to get this moving forward. We're going to try to get the head on today, I hope, and get the oil pan cleaned up and put it together. I would show you the oil pan, but I'm still in one of my nice shirts, and it is absolutely disgusting. So hopefully we can get that clean today. But yeah, we're trying to move forward with it and get that thing put back together. We've got a bunch more projects that are coming. If you see in some of the other videos that I've got a handful of engines sitting here on the garage floor. One of them is a flathead Ford V8 motor that we're going to rebuild for the 46 Ford that's outside. I've mentioned it a few times. I don't know if I've shown it on the channel, but when the weather warms up, that's going to be the plan to work on that car. We're going to take the flathead Ford V8 that we have here. We're going to take a automatic C4 Ford transmission and put on the back of that, turn it into an automatic. Redo the rear suspension. It's got a transverse mounted leaf spring on the back of it, which is left to right, not front to back. We're going to take that out of there. We're going to take the torque tube suspension out of there. We've got a standard rear axle that's going to go under it with a regular drive shaft. We're going to put leaf springs that are parallel with the traction of the car. So we're going to rebuild the whole rear end of it. That's going to be hopefully the summer project. Hopefully nothing else gets in the way. We'll see how that goes. The other motor that I've got sitting here is an inline 6 Ford motor. It's the Ford 200 out of the 65 Mustang. We took the motor and transmission out of the Mustang, taking the transmission, we're putting it in the 46 Ford. The motor is just sitting here. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't want to throw it away. I know it runs. I've run the motor before. But I'm not putting it back in the Mustang. The Mustang is in terrible shape. It's the whole underside of it is completely rusted. I was going to put new floor pans and cross members, frame rail connectors in it, and we started that work. But there's nothing to weld the frame rail connectors too on the back side. Those cars don't have a frame per se. They have, you know, stamped steel C-channel, real thin stuff, and some of it's galvanized, some of it's regular steel, and it's very thin and it's rusted. Everything on the underside of the car is just, it literally crumbles to dust in your hands. The outer part of the car looks fine. The hood looks good. The windows are great. All the glass is in perfect shape. The rear deck lid is in good shape. So I don't want to just literally scrap the car and crush it. There's a lot of parts there for a Mustang person. But to put that car back on the road, you would have to disassemble the entire car, put it on a rotisserie, flip it over, and re-weld the entire understructure. It's really not worth it for me to do that, and I obviously don't have the shop to do that. So I got to find somebody that can take that car off my hands. I'm kind of at the point of the price is get it out of my yard. You know, the motor, I don't know if it's going to go with the car or if somebody can buy it. There's not a lot of dirt tracks and small time racing where I live. I live close to a large city. So I'm told that these motors are very popular for dirt track racers and stuff like that, but there's not a lot of that in my area. And is it worth it for me to haul it 200 miles down the road to get $100 for it? I don't know. So if you live in the Glen Burnie, Baltimore, Maryland area and you want a 200 cubic inch inline 6 Ford motor, leave a comment. We'll talk. The other motor that I have, I've got a motor sitting out back. It's an Isuzu motor that I was going to rebuild, and I plan on rebuilding it, but I don't have any space in here. But I just came into another handful of motors. We just took 4 blocks to the scrapyard yesterday. They're pretty much junk. One was a small block 350. One was an Oldsmobile motor. I don't know what the other 2 were, but they were boat anchors. They were completely rusted. There was no documentation on them whatsoever. But I have 4 other motors that probably are going to be in good shape. And I don't know if I'm going to keep them or if I'm going to sell them. One of them is a Pontiac motor. I think it's a 77 Pontiac 326 V8. That's what the numbers that I've found so far are telling me. I talked to my engine guy. He gave me a few pointers on like what to look for and kind of narrow that down. Doing some internet searching, we found some of the casting numbers. We're not 100% sure because the numbers we're seeing on the motor and the forums that we're looking at don't necessarily agree, but apparently Pontiac motors are a little bit goofy. So the other one that's sitting next to it looks like a Ford small block of some flavor, maybe a 350, might be a 351. I don't know Ford motors that well, so we're going to look into that one. We'll get more space and light on it and all that. The other one that's sitting in there is a big block Ford 460 motor. I don't know what shape it's in. I just know it's there. All the stickers on the valve covers still has the original valve covers. Say it's a 460 big block, and it's definitely a big block. That thing is huge. I think it's worth money, but I don't have anything to put it in, and I hate to throw it away because somebody out there wants a big block Ford, I'm sure. But, you know, I've got to figure out some way of getting it to that person. And the other one is a spare big block. It's not a complete motor. I don't know what the internals are, but it's a big block. It's block, heads, crankshaft, pistons. I mean, it's not the complete motor, but it's mostly short and or long block complete. The Pontiac motor still has the original carburetor on it. It's got a Rochester 2-barrel carburetor, valve covers, oil pan, water pump. The exhaust manifolds are still on it, original exhaust manifolds. So it looked like somebody literally just pulled it out of the car, put it on the crate, and hasn't touched it since. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't had a chance to turn it over. It may not turn over. It may be seized. I don't know. But it's free, and that's a great price for a motor. But I don't have any place to put them. So I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with these things. I'm trying to find a home for most of them that doesn't involve putting them in my garage. If I can find somebody that wants it now and I can get it to them now, sure, let's make that happen. Otherwise, they're going to go to the scrapyard. They're going to get sent to the recycler. And, that guy that's looking for that Pontiac motor for his rebuild, it's just going to get missed. Sorry, that's just the way it is. I don't have room for more motors. So that's been taking a lot of our time. We've been trying to clean up that project. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. That's not really my story to tell, but I'm helping a friend clean something up, and it's got motors and motor parts, and I got a whole bunch of fluids and grease and whatnot for free out of the whole project. A lot of bits and bobs and pieces and whatnot. I got a manual for a AMC Rambler from 1963. It's a 63 shop manual. Who needs that? But of course I kept it because, it's interesting. And it's easier to store a shop manual than it is an entire big block motor. So, yeah, slow going. We're not doing anything with the ambulance right now. It's sitting outside. We're tinkering with the Jeep. We're working on the studio. We got the studio mostly finished. I went out there earlier and we're still getting a little bit of rain coming in. Around the door, we sealed most everything we could with that thing. We painted it right before the cold weather hit, and then I went out there about a week ago and I've got some Flexi Seal liquid paint, and just every crack and seam and nail head I could find, I painted it. So now it's a green shed with gray stripes. But I painted everything I could, and it seems to have solved the problem with water getting into it, except for around the front door. The front door, because you have to have a hole for the door to go through. Water's getting in there. We think we have some ideas on how to solve that because it's a really weird design for the door. It's not a standard door. But that's been kind of a project. We're trying to get the studio finished so we can get all the stuff out of the office into the studio so we can tear the office apart because, we have a lot to do. But like today, it's pouring rain out there. You can probably hear the wind and the rain beating on the garage door. We're supposed to have 50-mile-an-hour winds and 5 inches of rain or something, so I don't know. We're going to get a whole lot done today. But we're going to try. If any of the guys show up, I'll have to change my clothes and we'll put the head on. The head's right over here on the bench. I'm not going to pick it up because, like I said, I still have my clean clothes on. But I'll see if I can. There we go. There's the head sitting back there. Let's see if I can put this down without dropping it now. I'm using the drill press as my stand here. Appreciate you guys subscribing, adding to the channel. There was some good discussion on one of the other videos with the Bolt induction heater. I kind of like watching that, and like I said, the Bolt induction heater, it's an option. It's one of several. I do have a torch. One of the guys was mentioning he could have saved me a bunch of money. I actually have torches. They're down there on the floor. See, right over there. But sometimes you don't want to use a torch when you're underneath the car, around the gas line, around the brake lines. So the Bolt induction heater, it's an option. I also have a propane or a MAP gas torch. It's sitting over there too. So a world of options. And one of the things that you want to do is you want to look for a lot of different ways to solve a problem. Drill a screw out, put heat on it, put penetrating fluid on it, put wax. There's tricks on there with melting wax on them. Explore all the different possibilities. That way you have all of those, ideas and all those tools in your toolbox when you go run into a project and you don't really know how you're going to solve it. You have options. Some people out there are one trick pony. They have one way of doing things, and that sometimes that works. Sometimes that one trick works for everything, but it doesn't always work. And sometimes you're in a position where you can't use that, or you don't have that tool with you, or you're at a friend's garage and he doesn't have that tool that you need, and your garage is 100 miles away or whatever. So learn something new every day. Try a new tool every day. Whenever you can, buy another tool for your garage, because there's no such thing as having too many tools for too many different types of tools. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to close it out here, and I will talk to you guys later.